Dalena, why did you decide to come back over to England and play your club rugby here for Wasps?
Yeah, I played for Wasps in 2014, 2016. Took time away from rugby and then got back into rugby and decided after playing with the Barbarians that I wanted to come over, and I'd heard so much about how the professionalism of the sport over here in the Premiership has changed. And just hearing about, obviously Giselle taking over as the director of rugby, it's just always been a dream of mine to come over and give it another shot, really. I couldn't really go to another club. Wasps was just kind of the first, thought. So that was mainly just to get back into rugby, just to have fun with it, be involved in it again, and just to play some top rugby at a top level, basically.
And I can imagine the connection with Fee Stockley and the call-ups for the Barbarians, and that kind of intertwined with you coming back to the club. Yeah,
definitely. So I moved back to Australia earlier this year and got back into club rugby, and then obviously she got word that I was back playing, and she's done a lot for Wasps and done a lot for women's rugby now with the Barbarians link, and so she kind of gave me the call and asked if I'd be interested in going over to the US, and it's kind of opportunity, definitely, that's like a pinnacle of anyone's international career, to play in a Barbarians team with so many international representatives, the best of their country, and to do it on the same pitch that's just an experience you can't say no to. So
lifelong friends made along the way, I can imagine, all from different countries.
And the girls were great. Like, they were just there were girls that I had played against but never played with, and you always dream of that. And the Barbarians way is just, it's fun, it's passionate, there's flair. You get a license just to play whatever rugby you want to play and just have fun with it. And it's just a real testament, I think, to you playing rugby at an international level and being able to put that jersey on and just enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, and having played yourself for Australia in the 15s and the sevens format of the game, the Australian women's sevens teams are obviously Olympic champions, but historically the Wallaroos and the 15 side of the game haven't been as successful globally. And I just wanted to ask what you thought the reasons were for that, and how you think the Wallaroos can potentially move up the world rankings.
Yeah, definitely. It just comes down to test matches. The girls, I debuted in 2008, and we didn't really play. In that year we played 3 test matches, and then between 2010 and 2014 in the Wallaroos we hadn't played any test matches before a World Cup. We played 2 test matches in the year of the World Cup of 2014. So I know it's changed massively now, and definitely sevens is the pinnacle of, well, that's one of the main reasons is why the sport has grown so much over in Australia. And the girls are having more test matches, so I feel like it's growing, it's developing, it's getting in a bit better position. How they'll go towards the next World Cup, well, they just need more game time. They just need more opportunities, and those opportunities to keep happening. As anyone knows, over here they play Six Nations. That's a massive advantage to be able to play for your country and play all those matches, and autumns is coming up, and it's just, you don't get that opportunity in the Southern Hemisphere with Australia, unfortunately. But if we can get like a Bledisloe or expand the Super Rugby from what it is right now, giving the girls more test matches, that's how they can really put their name on a global scale and be able to continuously compete at that higher level against the Black Ferns, against England, against the US, against France. So
and you mentioned there that obviously with the sevens teams being in part of the World Series, they get to play against international competition pretty much every month. So the gap is just massive, and like you say, hopefully they and also, do you think it's to do with the competition of other sports in Australia, because you've got Aussie Bulls and you've got Rugby League, like you mentioned, so there's a lot more competition?
There's so many codes in Australia, and like you said, you've got Aussie Rules. They had 68,000 to their final last year, which is massive for women's sport. Rugby League is also a massive contender with the women's sport at the moment as well. So I think it's great for women's sport to have so many codes in Australia and actually be recognised and getting the resources and the recognition that they deserve. But that's where the sevens have really helped rugby be more recognised because they play more often on the World Series and they're together and they're professionals. That's only going to help rugby and as a whole. So there's a lot of competition, but rugby's still getting better, and that's all we hope for, I think. Yeah.
Definitely. And what do you hope to achieve while you're over here in England? I'm not sure how long you're planning on staying for, but over the kind of coming seasons, what do you hope to achieve?
I think at the moment, I'm really enjoying it, being back a part of Wasps. Giselle and LJ have been great as terms of it's such a different level to what I remember being here before. It has really grown, and the professionalism, you can say that the premiership level over here is one of the best levels to play in the world. So what I hope to achieve is just to continue to enjoy playing, having fun, sharing my experience where I can, and just having fun just playing in the Wasps jersey, and hopefully winning a premiership. That's the ultimate goal, really. So and
you mentioned it's improved, obviously, the standard, and it's just interesting because you say you were over here in
2014 to 2016,
and so you've obviously got that gap of maybe 3 years. Is it an S&C thing that's the fact that S&C has got so much better, or player welfare, or what would you put the main change down to?
I think as a whole, it becoming a part, Tyrrell's becoming a part of a massive premiership, the standards and the expectations coming from obviously the RFU, that to be able to compete in the premiership, making those clubs become or stay accountable for the things that they need to provide for the players to keep it professional. So that is your S&C, that's your nutrition, that's your coaches, that's the facilities, all of those things. That's where, when you're offering such a I think when you offer a standard and you offer a service to the girls, they don't have to think about anything else. They just have to show up and play and train. And when that is treated at a professional level, then that's what makes the competition better and bigger, because you are competing against clubs that don't have that. In Australia, it's really hard to have be able to travel the country because the country's so big. In Sydney alone, we'll probably have 7 or 8 teams, but some of those teams will find it hard to even field a team. Over here, you've got 2 teams at least, so that's 40 girls, 50, 60 girls that you're coming into a club. That just makes it so much better because there's just participation in the sport. So that's where I think over the last 3 years, just the RFU putting in those standards of the club having to be professional, that's helped, and I can really tell the difference.
It's really encouraging to hear.